So when you came in and told your family, hey, I'm going to quit, I'm going to continue or be an investor full time, how was their reaction?
It was mixed depending on who it was. Some people were like, no, you've already got 11 years in, just stay in and get the pension at 20. And then other people were like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I can see you getting out and doing your own thing.
So who are the people who told you stay in?
Parents, it was a recommendation from the parents, you know, that stability.
And who are the people who like you're gonna be fine, just quit?
Cousins, siblings, grandparents.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Nick in San Antonio, and he's ready to share his journey as a real estate investor here on Houses Flipping People with you. So Nick, it's so nice to have you here with us. Do you mind share with us, how long have you been a real estate investor?
Well, first of all, thank you, Olivia. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And I've been investing in real estate since 2019, so about 4 years.
And why did you become a real estate investor?
When I first discovered real estate, I was really attracted to the freedom that it could provide, right? Freedom of income and just lifestyle. So that's what attracted me to it.
So Nick, let's go back in time in the beginning of your journey as a real estate investor. How did you find your first deal?
Well, I found my first deal on the MLS. It was a property that was going to work really well for a business model that I wanted to put over it. And I convinced the seller to do seller financing for the first year, and then that way I could refinance at 12 months. And so by doing that, I only had to furnish it, and the property ended up buying itself in a year's time.
That's cool. And where is this property located?
That's in New Mexico.
How much did you pay for that property?
We bought it for $280.
And you're saying it's cash flowing right now?
Yeah, it cash flows about, depending on our occupancy, $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
Who is managing the property?
It's self-managed.
How do you self-manage it?
I trained an assistant and she runs the management of it. We've got our clientele, we've got boots on the ground, management, maintenance, cleaning, things like that.
How long did it took you to actually find this person to train and for you to actually be boots on the ground even though you're not there, make sure everything is going smooth?
Well, it took a couple of months of training, and you know, there's always retraining, but yeah, I would say it took a couple of months to stabilize, and it was the first deal that I did, so there was a lot of learning lessons along the way, but it's pretty smooth sailing now.
If you knew what you know now, what would you do differently?
I don't know if I'd do anything differently. What I did well with is take a risk, and I took action. I would definitely have backups to your boots on the ground though. So I did have some issues where I only had like one handyman or one cleaner, and then if something goes wrong with them, you're scrambling. So having seconds and thirds of people that are there would definitely be something to have when you're managing something remotely.
So what was the biggest challenge that you had with this deal? That you would go back in time, that was challenge?
I would have to say, yeah, remotely managing personnel, and when you have changes in personnel or staff.
Did you put any money in for renovation?
No, we just furnished it, which was about $35,000.
When are you planning to sell this property?
We're actually going to sell it this summer.
And do you know what is going to be the sales price?
Yeah, we're going to list it at $460,000.
What would be the profit if you do end up selling with this price?
It's going to come to about $175,000.
When you got that first deal, how do you learn all these strategies? How did you even end up with all these creative strategies?
Yeah, it was, you know, education through the inner circle and some of the materials that we have really helped me find a creative way to get this deal done. And if it wasn't for doing this creatively, I wouldn't have had the finances to both furnish it and purchase it at the same time.
So with your first deal, what was your aha moment?
My aha moment was a year later when I did taxes and I saw that I had a new asset. I saw how much money I had brought in that year, and depreciation helped me show a loss on my taxes. And that was a huge aha moment for me.
So Nick, where are you from originally?
I originally was born in upstate New York, near the Niagara Falls, Buffalo area.
Oh, cool. How long have you been in Texas?
Since 2019.
And why did you move to Texas?
I was stationed here.
And have you lived in any other state in the U.S.?
Yes. I lived in New Mexico and Arizona, and I also lived in England for a little while.
So Nick, what did you do before you became a real estate investor?
Before becoming a real estate investor, I was in the military. I did search and rescue for the Air Force.
Well, thank you for your service. Are you still in the military right now?
I'm not.
How long were you in the military for?
I was in for just over 11 years.
And why did you even end up going to the military?
Honestly, freedom is one of my core values, and so joining the military and fighting for freedom kind of resonated with me.
How many residential have you done since you became a real estate investor?
I'm like 14.
So it took you how long before you transition or add on the commercial?
I started doing commercial 2 years ago, so about 2 years. I closed on my first residential deal on December 30th of 2019, and then I closed on my first commercial deal December 30th of 2022. So it was 3 years apart between closings.
How long does it usually take? Because people like, I want to go commercial, but they have no idea what the difference.
Yeah.
So for you, you started with residential. Why?
Residential is accessible to everyone. You know, you're able to go and buy a house and learn there. I think there's a lower barrier to entry than there is commercial.
Okay.
So I started there, but my intention was always to get to commercial.
I like to say the residential is the monthly income to keep the bills getting paid, and the commercial is like, okay, let me analyze. It takes, took you what, 2 weeks to analyze that deal, as if it's a residential, even if it's a multi-million-dollar deal. How long did it took you to analyze a residential deal?
A couple of hours.
Couple hours. So how much did you pay for this deal?
We had it under contract for $650, but I helped out with the negotiations, so we got it down to $525.
And what is the renovation cost on this one?
It's going to be about $80,000 for renovation costs.
And when are you planning to put this property on the market?
We're going to do a quick turn on this one. We're thinking 18 months to 2 years.
Is it vacant right now? What is the condition right now?
Yeah, so it is 100% economic vacancy. So there's no income in the property currently.
Even though there's no income coming in, you still think it's a good idea and it will perform when you do put it back on the market.
Right.
Why are you so confident over that number?
Because of the market analysis that we ran, there's a large demand for it. There actually are units that have boats in them currently, they're just not paying. I don't know why they weren't paying the previous owner, but they just are keeping their boats in there. So we've already got like 30 boats that are in there. It should be pretty easy to get the property to start performing, and then with some marketing, it'll fill up pretty quick.
What are the challenges that you are facing with this property, right? Do you have any?
I mean, it's a property that is a little bit older, right? The aesthetic of it isn't that great, so we're gonna have to spruce it up, we're gonna have to make it look good. And it's starting off, like I said, with zero income. And so that's a big challenge, especially for commercial when you have overhead expenses, continuing expenses to pay.
And the person who did bring you this deal, did he's partner with you as well?
Yeah, of course.
And who else partnered with you, and why are those people a partner?
The other two Inner Circle guys, they are my partners in commercial space. And so when this deal was brought to me, I brought it to them and we take down the deals together. So one guy has a ton of experience, the other guy is extremely good at raising capital. I do a lot of the analysis and boots on the ground work. And then of course the guy that brought the deal, it's in his backyard, it's his first commercial deal. And so having him be a part of it and learn is his steps into commercial as well.
The reason I'm breaking down, because I have 4 partners, but why do you have 4 partners and what do they bring you to the table? Just for people to understand, why would I want to partner with someone instead of trying to do everything yourself and try to learn every single step that you just mentioned right now, because it does take a long time to learn everything.
And I've done it both ways, right? My first deal was all on my own with no experience and going into debt for it, and now I know a much better way to do that, which is partnering with other people.
When we come in, we're like, I want to have the money all for myself. Why do I want to partner? I'm good, I can figure it out. And then you're stuck there for a long time trying to figure out everything instead of doing 3, 4, 5 deals at the same time, and just do it where you're good at it and keep learning from everybody who already have the experience.
Exactly. And then you can really hone in on what your strengths are, what are you good at, and what can you provide for other people.
And how long it took you to realize or to learn what do you have to give back as a partner?
You know, I think that's always evolving, and I'm always learning what I can do better to give back and provide. But I'd say, yeah, probably a couple of years to kind of really figure out what am I good at in real estate, especially because it's so different from where I came from. None of my previous skills transferred over into the military. Well, I didn't think so. None of
So what did you perform in the Air Force?
In the Air Force, I did search and rescue for special operations.
Okay, and when it comes to real estate, what you're good at?
I'm good at analyzing the deal, finding the risk, And that's one area that did transfer over, but it took me a while to figure it out. Is I did a lot of risk assessment, risk mitigation in my job. It was high risk, and you have to figure out where those risks are at, mitigate them, and get to a level of acceptable risk, right? That skill set transfers very nicely over into real estate, especially the commercial.
So it took you about 2 years to like, I can get some of my skills that I did learn through my entire career and transfer it on as an investor.
Yeah.
And how about in terms of negotiating with the sellers or the wholesaler, whoever you're working on? Do you feel like because you negotiated back then, do you think that helps you a little bit to become a closer today?
I think it does, especially because negotiations can get stressful, right? And it's very easy for me to stay cool, calm, and collected. And people have even said that when negotiations get tough, they're like, "You just stayed very cool." And it's like, well, I used to be working like saving people's lives. This is just money. Like, it's not as big of a deal.
I'm glad to hear that you are using some of your skills into how to perform, be a better in real estate invest. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It took some time to figure out, but I really believe that everyone, no matter where they're coming from, will find something that they did before, some skill set, will transfer over into real estate in some way. I mean, there's just so much to real estate. There's no way that it can't.
It's just a matter of time and really focus and analyze yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes we sabotage ourselves big time, and sometimes it takes 2 years, some people take 2 months, some people takes much longer than that.
Some of us are just slower learners,
So, what do you think is going to be the sales price when you do put this property on the market in 18 months?
Yeah, we think it's gonna go for about $800,000.
Regardless of the economy, now it's kind of like shaky. Do you feel like your number will continue on regardless if it goes up or down?
Yes, because this is a commercial asset, and so it's run off the pro forma and the cash flow that it can provide. So, and with it being Texas, and people have boats and RVs, they need a place to store them because of HOAs you can't. And like I said, I've never auctioned a boat because people typically pay their rent. If it's a couple $100s to keep their boat, they're not gonna default on it. So it's a pretty stable asset class, even in a recession.
How would you say that real estate have transformed your life?
Well, I would say completely. I mean, I used to have a job, right, a W-2, and I've always wanted to travel and really just do whatever I want when I want to, and I'm able to do that with real estate. So real estate has helped me live the life that I want to live.
What is the life that you're living right now versus before?
I get to choose where I go, when I go, and why I go to certain places.
How often do you travel now?
Quite a bit. Yeah, I travel to Florida to see my nieces about every other month. I'm going to be in Italy in the summer. Actually, when I closed on my first commercial deal, I was in Hawaii. And that was another kind of aha moment because that was by far the largest transaction I had ever done. I was in Oahu, catching a flight to go to Maui, had to like go to a UPS store, sign closing documents, and send it off before my flight. And that was my second aha moment.
How stressful is that?
It was super stressful, but it was amazing because I was still living my life, I was still traveling, and I was doing, $1 million transactions at the same time, and it was a really great feeling.
Congratulations, that's awesome. Yeah, I was in Brazil hanging out with my family, and then I gotta jump on the Zoom because I gotta do your closing.
Yeah.
So real estate does give us the flexibility to find ourselves in so many directions, and our passion that I never even heard or I thought that I had.
Yeah.
And somehow after I became a real estate investor, I refined myself, a whole brand new me that I didn't know before.
Yeah, kind of sitting there dormant, just ready to...
Yeah, ready to explore. And when my kids like, Mom, you just think about money. I'm like, no, son, with money, you find so many passion that you never even heard before. And when you have the time and the money, the freedom, you will explore the world. You will see the world in a complete different vision, as when you're like trying to figure out how you're gonna end up by the end of the year. In real estate, I can say I am finally living the American dream. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the American dream for you?
I think the American dream is surrounded by the concept of freedom, right? And real estate has provided that.
So Nick, who would you like to thank for you to be here today?
I mean, there's tons of people that I'm grateful for. Phil and Shanoa for creating the inner circle, providing the opportunity, my family for supporting me, all of the partners that I've had over the years and all of the transactions, and especially those that have helped me break into the commercial space.
How does it feel when you say, 14 residential and 3 commercials?
It's good. I mean, I don't know. I'm my biggest critic, so I'm like, I probably could have worked harder and done more. But I've got a good work-life balance, and so I'm satisfied with it.
How much money have you made between all those deals?
So it's hard for me to put a number on that, but I am now self-employed. I have a 6-figure income.
How does that feel? Do you see yourself growing? Do you feel like you are living the life that you work for, that you dream your entire life? Do you feel like you're in the right spot right now?
Yeah, I'm just starting to live my best life, and things are working out.
How many people have you partner with your 14 residential and your 3 commercial? How many people inside our inner circle have partnered with you?
I'd say over a dozen, at least.
How often do you go back to the same partners to partner again?
I've always gone back, yeah. So when opportunities come up, yeah.
I agree with you. When you get to know each other, even though we have a really large network, but I work well with you. I know you can bring the funding. I know you can analyze a deal. I know you can renegotiate and close the deal. You can kind of like, hey, I don't need to go research and brainstorm again. I'm going to bring you back into the team.
Right.
And they go back and forth the same with us as well. So
yeah, and there'll be some people that I don't partner with in the inner circle, but that's just because they're bringing the same strength that I am, right?
Yeah.
So we're not really able to provide each other value, but we can provide our value to other people who have other strengths. So it's all about complementing your strengths and building the team.
What advice would you give for anyone out there that is thinking about becoming a real estate investor?
Do it.
Before you came to us, have you done any other workshop before?
I had, yes.
And why us?
I could see the network behind it. I saw the experience, and I knew that I would be able to join this network, and it was going to help me on my path.
I agree with you. I think when we check all the box, regardless if it's commercial, residential, multifamily, everything that we need is right here. Yeah. So we don't need to go that far to go find something else. So I agree with you. Now that you have achieved all these goals, what's next on your agenda?
Keep going. Yeah, just continuing to learn, grow, get better, do more deals, go on more vacations, see my nieces more. I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay, so the strategy that you have done, you said 14 residential. Which kind of deal was them? Sub 2, what was the strategy that you used on them?
Yeah, I use a bunch of different strategies. So sub 2, flip, buy and hold mainly is what I do. Different high cash flowing models, normal long-term rentals. It's a mix. It's whatever makes sense for that asset class, that deal.
On that deal. And how about on the commercial?
On the commercial, I have started and I'm focusing on the storage facility aspect of it, particularly boat and RV storage.
Okay, the 3 deals that you have done, they all kind of go in the same category?
Yes.
Why is that important for you? Why do you love this category, I guess, so much?
There's a few reasons. One, I learned through my time in residential where I kind of did a lot of different things, and that was a part of me learning and growing and understanding real estate. So I think that kind of wandering following the shiny penny is important for learning growth. But I now appreciate the power of focus and really focusing on one thing and putting your effort into it and growing it is one. 2 is, in these uncertain times, self-storage is an asset class that historically performs very well. And so as we get into shaky territory, I want to make sure that I'm investing in an asset class that historically performs well. That's
great. That's good that you know your why, and there's so many other opportunities when you nail this one, and now I get it, and then something that will probably come along in a couple of years or so, and then you know your foundation very well on this one.
Right.
Nick, any final words before we finish this interview?
No, just want to share my gratitude and appreciation. So thank you and Phil and Shanoa and the Inner Circle.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking the time and coming here and sharing your journey, and we can't wait to see you keep growing on our network. So thank you.